To Bangladesh now, where Nobel Laureate Muhammad Yunus has been named as the head of the country's interim government. It's a move student protesters have been calling for after forcing Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to resign and flee the country. The turmoil comes after weeks of anti-government demonstrations, which saw a violent police crackdown. At least 109 people were killed and more than 1,000 injured during demonstrations on Monday. Let's take a closer look at who Muhammad Yunus is. Well, he was born in 1940 and is seen as Bangladesh's most distinguished economist and entrepreneur. He was also seen as a major political threat by the administration under Sheikh Hasina. He rose to international prominence in 2006 when he formed Grameen Bank and won the Nobel Peace Prize for providing small loans or microcredit on easy terms to people in poverty. A year later, Sheikh Hasina's administration began a series of investigations after Yunus formed a political party. In 2011, Muhammad Yunus was fired as the bank's managing director for allegedly violating government regulations on retirement. Later, he faced more charges involving other companies he'd created. In January, he was sentenced to 6 months in jail for violating a labour law, but later granted bail. Mushfiqul Fazal is the executive director of South Asia Perspectives, an opinion-based magazine. He joins us from Washington, D.C. So let's start with Yunus. I understand he is somebody that you know personally. Can you give us a sense of his appeal and why he was targeted very much by Sheikh Hasina's government in terms of jail sentences and other legal action against him?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, the professor, as you said, that the Bangladesh government declared the Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus as next head of the government, as chief of the caretaker government. And it is he was offered in 2007 for this same position, but it was offered by the army at that time, and he refused. But now the students, the people, they handed over their leadership, their guardianship to the Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus. He is a well-respected man, and he got the Nobel Prize, the two highest prize from the US, the Presidential Medal and the Congressional Medal and the various honor, and he is serving chancellor of the numerous reputed universities. So he has a colorful background and banker of the poor. His name is all over the world. But within this country, he was, Sheikh Hasina was after him because of her personal, some sort of revenge. She thought, and her party members thought, the Nobel Peace Prize was for her, and all of a sudden, Professor Muhammad Yunus is grave. So this kind of, rhetoric in Bangladesh. And because when he was the managing director of the Grameen Bank, he was the pioneer of the Grameen Bank, but Sheikh Hasina removed him from the Grameen Bank and filed false cases against him. So now he's the real hero and people are waiting for him to lead the country.
So he was very much seen as a potential threat to Sheikh Hasina, as you've suggested. I wonder what role he will now play, whether this will be an interim role, a caretaker role ahead of elections at a later date. What do you imagine the next steps to be?
Yeah, so far, I know it will be the interim government and he will be the head of the government, because everything has broken by the previous regime, Sheikh Hasina, corruptions, the institution, no institutions left in the country. Everything is partisan, judiciary, the media, and else educational institution, nothing left in Bangladesh. So it will be a huge challenge for Professor Muhammad Yunus to rebuild this institution and to rebuild the country. And I think he will be the right man, because he has that charismatic leadership, because he ran his Grameen Bank, who got the Nobel Prize, and he does not have any political biasness. He's a neutral person so far, and so obviously it will be a great challenge. I think he will form his advisory board to like-minded people, those who love the country, those who really wants to contribute for the nation. And it is demand for the students against discriminations. Just they done the meeting with the president, and just few minutes ago it is declared from the presidential house.
Okay, Mushfiqul Fazal, Executive Director of the South Asia Perspectives magazine. On that developing story that the Nobel Laureate...
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.